Welcome to the Cristen and Jeff show, episode 9.
Episode 9.
What rhymes at 9? Episode 9, we're
feeling fine.
Feeling fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
So, yesterday, well, first we were doing the rice water experiment. I'll have you know that of all the pictures we've taken, the rice looks exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll see what happens. You seem very confident that things are going to change.
Things are going to change. It just takes time.
I've told a jar of rice that I hate it a lot, and it don't do nothing. So we'll see. We'll see. But we're keeping you updated on this. So
that doesn't mean be mean to people and just think that they'll be all right.
This is proving that I can tell people whatever I want and they'll be just fine. So
oh, great. Fantastic.
Yesterday, we participated in something called
Red Day.
Mm-hmm. So Keller Williams has, is it always May 10th?
It's always, is it?
There's always a certain Thursday? No, it's always a certain Thursday, right?
Yeah, isn't it the second Thursday of May?
It's like Thanksgiving, except it's in May.
Ah, yes.
Mm-hmm. That's I heard that from Gary Keller himself.
Did you?
So the entire, that's truth.
Mm-hmm.
The entire, all of Keller Williams in the U.S., all the offices closed, and people go out and do service for the community.
Yeah.
And so where'd you go?
We went to two different places. We went to the camp at Old Mill, which is at Honeybrook, Pennsylvania. It's a nonprofit organization. And then we also went to Good Works in Coatesville. So we had several different groups. We had 4 groups of people. And most nonprofits in the area couldn't support such a large group all together. Oh, no.
You just spilled on set. We ain't stopping this show.
No.
You just globbed on set. Look at that. Look at what she did. People listening, you can't see, but she just told it. Look, we got new straws.
What do we do?
New purple straws. She doesn't know what to do. All right, yeah. Okay, well, you're just going to move it off here.
Oh, man. It's just sitting there.
That's a lot of blueberries. That's a lot of blueberries.
Okay, well,
for our listeners, we just had a massive spill of...
We could re-record, but...
We didn't re-record. We don't stop. We never stop. This show's live.
All right. We're not... Well, technically,
It's not live.
It's not live.
But it's uncut.
Because we send it up. It's not uncut.
It's not. It is cut. But whatever. We're not stopping.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to let my awesome smoothie blueberry blob sit right there. Hopefully that gave you guys a good laugh. Mm-hmm. This brings up a good point. I talk with my hands a lot.
This actually hammers the
I was talking Good Works and groups of people and whack.
She gets
passionate. That's right. Those are the wrong straws. That's why.
You just said these are the preferred straws.
Those are the thick, too tall straws. Yeah. And that's why that happened. Because I was acclimated with my normal straw size. And I just whacked it.
You ain't pulling that. This is the best straw.
All right.
Okay.
So we had...
Your day of service.
We had about... I think it ended up being about 80 people, 70 to 80 people from Keller Williams Exton go out and deploy to one of these 4 locations. And at Camp at Old Mill, they were painting, they were doing repairs in the grounds, mulch and planting flowers. And the intention of that place is children go there that come from troubled homes. That's a safe haven for them. In the summertime, it's a camp that they can go to. And you're trying to make me feel better?
Well, no, I'm listening to you. I just feel like the symmetry of the set needs to be...
Well, I think it's too late. They're already seeing what happens.
Yeah, but now they'll see it's better. So go ahead.
All right. This is it.
Sorry.
Jeff, no. This is about to get bad again.
Couldn't get worse. No, this is serious. You go to the 70, 80 people.
Yeah, and so these children get to come in from, I believe it's Philadelphia, and have the opportunity to be in a safe environment that's... giving them a fun, positive retreat in the summertime. So that is Camp at Old Mill. And then Good Works helps restore homes in the area for people that really need support. And so what's amazing about Good Works, when I was talking to the guys yesterday that work for this wonderful nonprofit, is that some organizations, if let's say someone calls a nonprofit and they say, hey, my child's sneezing a lot and their allergies are really bad and they can't sleep at night. I think something's wrong. It must be my carpet. Will you come redo my carpet or rip it out and put in vinyl flooring or something? So some nonprofit organizations would go in, evaluate, and they would do it. The amazing thing about Good Works that really just takes it to the next level is they go in and they evaluate the carpet, the reason for the call, but then they take it to the next level and they go ahead and evaluate everything about the home, because most likely if there's one problem, there are other areas that could use improvements as well.
I would think so.
Good Works, just an amazing group of individuals. Yesterday, they knocked down an entire front of a townhome that had water damage, has to be completely redone, hoarding situation. So they had to go in and cover and move a lot of things, and the people are still living in the home. So really amazing work that they're doing, and very selfless acts. And the amazing thing about it too as well is that there's no judgment, which I think is really beautiful. And they're going in and helping these people, and they just genuinely care about the homeowners and want to do everything they can to support them, not just in a physical way.
Right.
With the
They're
home.
not going in there saying like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or how dare you. They're just saying, we're here to fix.
We're here. Well, the homeowner and the home. They're here to help the homeowner and the home. So they're actually talking, about scripture, and it's a faith-based nonprofit organization. So they're in there showing love to these people that most likely feel unloved or lost in this moment. So it's a really amazing thing, and to be with all the agents yesterday and supporting the community was really rewarding. So it's something that I wish we were doing once a week. It's really powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. So how about you guys? What'd you do?
We went to Royer Graves School for the Blind, which is in Paoli, and beautiful campus, and they do pretty amazing work. I didn't understand how vast and how many people they had there, and we mulched and weeded their gardens, or their landscape. Me and Terry Scollin put down a bunch of rubber mats in the baking hot sun, so my joints hurt and everything. But they were so appreciative of what we did. It's nice to see we had 30, 40 people spend 5 hours, 6 hours there. So it's just nice. It's just nice to be able to help, and that they welcome us in. They were so happy to have us there. We also painted some of their interior walls and stuff.
Wow.
So it was nice. It's a really cool experience. It's nice that everyone across the nation's doing it on just one day. It's just a very neat thing. Yeah,
that's what's incredible is if you look on Instagram at the hashtag Red Day 2018 or Red Day or Keller Williams, or even just jump on Facebook and look up some Keller Williams folks. All over the world, people were engaging in community service, all types of different acts, whether it be some people were door knocking and asking for cash or food donations and gathering donations. Other people went and, did project work out in the city, or helped with public schools, just all sorts of different things. There's so many people that need help out there, and it's just such a rewarding day. So I still have paint on my arm from yesterday that I realized I didn't get off.
I see. I'm actually surprised you didn't scratch it off already yourself.
It's stuck.
I mean,
painted yesterday.
Painted paint thinner,
and
acetone,
did some insulation, and yeah.
Yeah, you were bad, eh?
I don't know about all that. It was pretty cool.
You're a hard worker. I love that about you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to something we called, because we were talking about shower thoughts. Thoughts you have when you're in the shower. Those genius attacks.
Genius attacks?
Well, I like to call them genius attacks. I feel like I'm a genius when I have them.
Well, when we're reading these to people, we're not going to sound so genius. So I don't know if we should call them genius attacks. Okay. All
right. Kind of smart attacks. So we're calling them C&J Stumpers. So actually, let's go with that. So things that stump us. Okay.
Stump us.
So we wrote down. So we just write these down as we get them. Like, things that we think about.
Can I go first?
We can. I was going to give an example, though.
Oh.
First. Before we went with ours.
Oh.
We saw this one guy wrote, he called it his shower thought. He said, someone made the acronym ASAP so that they could say the words as soon as possible. As soon as possible. That feels like a genius. So, anyway, that's pretty genius if you ask me. But go ahead. You give me this week's Cristen stuff.
Bothers me. This one's been bothering me since I was in 9th grade. You drive in a parkway and park in a driveway. I don't understand. Drive in a parkway, park in a driveway.
Yeah, and it's also, what is it? Shipment goes on a truck, but cargo goes on a ship, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
you're
that's
making me
right.
think. So those are different, but you do bring up a funny point. It's just someone makes a word, and you just get so used to it. The driveway should definitely be the place you drive on.
Yeah, the parkway should be called the driveway, and then the place you park in front of your house should be called your parkway.
But what's also funny is going into that. If we were driving on the highway and you're like, get on the driveway, it would sound weird.
Well, only because we're used to parkway.
Right? You would be like, that's not what it's called.
But if we
pull into the parkway, you're like, oh. So it's funny how you get so used to something.
No one says pull into the parkway.
But of course they don't, because they would say pull into the driveway.
I thought we were still talking about like driving and getting on the. Oh, okay. Well, this is going swell.
You're the best.
I'm gonna drink more coffee.
Here's we have two apiece. This is a real stumper. Why anymore? Because I remember when I was a kid, when you gave your credit card, my mother would give her credit card. They would pull out she would hand her license, and they would literally hold them both like this and compare and be like, so cool. Now, how do I sign my stumper is, why do we sign when we use our credit card? How do I sign my name every time I use my credit card?
Oh, like chicken scratch, and a few times I think you did a smiley face.
I do smiley faces. There's literally no purpose for it anymore. So I don't know what the purpose of signing is anymore. I don't know if they just haven't realized, like, I guess we just don't do this anymore. Because if they ever research my stuff, it's just a lot. I just screw. Oh,
so keep in mind, if you want to steal someone's credit card, take his and just draw a smiley face when you have to sign, because he just gave that OA to all you guys.
It still stumps me though. I don't know why we sign anymore.
Me either.
How about you? What's your next stumper?
You know how we say fridge, short for refrigerator? Fridge has a D in it. Refrigerator does not. Just let that sink in for a minute.
Refrigerator does not have a D in it.
Refrigerator does not have a D in it, but yet when we say, I'm going to grab something out of the fridge, it's spelled F-R-I-D-G-E.
Are there any other words like that?
I don't know.
A refrigerator and a bridge? Nope.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, I'm thinking, there are no wrong answers. It's a safe zone. You told me this is a safe zone.
I never said that. There are no wrong
That's a good
answers.
one. Fridge and refrigerator. Refrigerator.
Yeah.
You're making me wonder if I could spell refrigerator, but good one.
Thanks.
My goal is to see if I can find any more anomalies like that.
I bet you could use the Googleizer.
I like that. I'm going to use that. It must be an app. Here's another one that happened yesterday at Red Day. We had a trash can that was no good. And I thought, how do you throw out a trash can? Like, do you
stick it in a larger trash can?
Do you put a note on it that says this is a trash can? This is trash?
This trash can is literally trash.
Literally.
Literally.
Do you have to? Well, I guess you could just smash it. You know what you do?
Good.
You donate it to the WWE, because they always use trash cans to beat up each other.
That's a good idea.
That's where all the trash cans go. I'm going to start a charity. Trash cans for wrestlers. It's good. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. They need help.
They need help.
They need help. So anyway, you can always tell us your stumpers. We love stumpers. We can talk about your stumpers.
That's a fun word.
Stumpers?
Stumper.
Yeah. So I'm still stumped. We didn't solve any of these. That's why they're called stumpers.
I got another one.
Yeah.
And the word scent, is the S or the C silent? We'll never know.
That is
because listen, a cent, like a penny is a cent. That's just C. So we know that C is capable of making this sound. We also know that S is capable of going S. So in the word scent, like that is a vanilla scented candle, is the S or the C silent?
No.
We'll never know, guys.
The C, if I can say scent like a penny, scent, and I can say scent like I sent mail, scent, then S and C together, they're both making the noise.
Well,
neither is silent.
It's not scent.
Yeah, it is if you do it quick. Scent. Yeah. Well, for now on, for the rest of
the my gosh, I love this scent. Bath and Body Works would get so awkward.
That was good.
It's already awkward. It's like over smell, and people like here smell this and putting stuff in your face, and it's sorry.
I'm scared of you, man.
So I was drinking it.
You want some?
No, I'll get some of that. Don't worry. So that would be even more awkward. Is Oh, ma'am, you have to try this candle. It's our newest scent.
I'm going to go work for...
Put this vanilla scented scrub on your hands, but go wash your
hands.
All
right, okay, fine. You make a point.
And
it's
a sink. Just kidding.
It's a sink. That was good. That's good. That was good. All right, I'm very nicely done.
Thank you.
Done.
All right.
On to a more serious subject. We talk about the market. We talk about stats. I love to prognosticate. I can always say that I have no basis of prognosticating except that I think I'm smart. And I talk to smart people, as you talk to smart people.
My cats.
But yes. But let's go with this. This goes back to 2017, but the market has risen 11.4% since 2008. So between 2008, 2014, real estate market, not 2014, 2017, risen 11%. So market on the rise. Where do you see the market going? Do you think it's still going up? Do you think it goes flat for a while? Do you think it dives down? How long? Do you have a timeline? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's still going up. And then it certainly seems as though with the market that it's going to start to plateau a bit here soon. I hate to make that prediction, though. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, what's your timeline? How long do you think it plateaus?
How long does the plateau last? 6 months.
And then it goes up or down?
I don't know. It's funky out there right now. And what's interesting, too, is that our market here is completely different from the market 20 minutes down the road where you all are. So it's hard to guess that. It certainly depends, too, on the rental properties and what they decide to do because rent's going up as well because there's a lack of inventory in the area. So, yeah, I mean, plateau, go down, and then go back up over 6 months, and then back up. I'm not sure. What are you thinking?
Interesting. Well, there's an issue here of mortgage rates have fluctuated throughout history.
Yep.
Obviously, my mother, when she bought her house in 1975 for, I forget what, $8,000, $12,000, right? House is now worth 200 and some thousand, right? So it's funny what happens. Her interest rate was 9% or 11%, something like that. So between 9 and 11%, or it fluctuated there. Now mortgage rates are, you can get down in the twos if you're in 15-year, high threes, low fours. But there's so many mortgage lenders now that the chances that mortgage rates go up to 5% are so low. Right. Because there's too many players in the game now. It used to just be a few, but now there's all these players. It goes down to everything. Like if the iPhone only made the iPhone, or I'm sorry, if Apple only made the iPhone, it could be whatever. But then all of a sudden everybody started making a phone. And so while the phones are expensive, they're still mini high-functioning computers. So it's really, when you think about buying a phone, it's pretty cheap for what you get for it. And so I think that mortgages have been commoditizing a bit so that mortgage rates aren't going to go up, which means they're going to press housing prices down. I think housing prices are just stuck at the moment, and they're going to go down. I think we're at a peak for some time. I've told the story of the friends we have who bought their house in 2002 for, I think it was $103,000, and today it's worth, I think, $92,000. And so that's 17 years later. Yeah,
it was also, though, with the thought process that town was going to be invested in significantly. Right. The main street was going to be cleaned up. Restaurants were going to move in, boutiques.
It didn't happen.
Major stores, it didn't happen, and that changed everything. Had it, probably would have added on.
Of course, that's just one small segment, but I think just my point is the larger thing is that mortgage rates aren't changing. Right. Which means they're not going to, that's not, I don't think what's going to be pressure on the market. But I think pressure on the market is just that another stat is 33% of home buyers now are going to be millennials, and they think differently, and they want to pay certain things. They want certain things to be a certain way, and I just see it driving prices down. Yeah. I think, especially in the higher market, your $1.5 million house is no longer worth 1.5. Right. It's worth 900 around here, and people are going to have to accept that sooner or later. So it's a seller's market now because there's so little inventory. But what I think is all these people are holding back because they don't want to sell yet. And by the time they realize they want to sell, they're going to be really, really frustrated with the fact that the price isn't there. I think we're at peak prices for a decade. I think if you have a $500,000 house, it's not going to be worth $500,000 again until 10 years from now. So
really?
I think you should be selling. If you want to make money on your house, you need to sell it right now. You need to sell it in this spring market, or you're in trouble.
Most homes, so in the range of what it seems to be like 100 to 650. We're going to put it there. That range, most people are getting above asking because they're getting so many offers. But then unfortunately, we have a lot of agents in the office that have more of luxury listings that are 800 and up. They can't sell them, especially over $1 million. I mean, 1.8 down to 1.4, and they're having discussions around bringing it down under 1. And so that range of home is just not selling right now. And that's obviously challenging for those people because they're looking at how much money they're losing, so to say, especially if they still owe a significant amount on that home. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty wild to see that the home, is appraised at $350 and people are coming in and they're accepting offers at $375. It's incredible.
So if I'm a real estate agent and I'm educating my clients, I'm telling them, like, listen, again, I can't predict the market, but I'm concerned that if you don't want to be here 5 years from now, you should think about the fact that there's a good potential 5 years from now your house is not worth what it's worth right now, and you need to just we can make a decision based on how would that make you feel, how would that work in your life, and if right now if you're a person who owns a home and you're thinking I want to get out of my house and it's under $750. I mean, this is again in our location or general, the greater Philadelphia area, but still this applies to across the nation. If you want to sell now, or if you're thinking I'll sell in a year, I would evaluate, can you sell right now?
Absolutely.
Because you're going to get a good price. And a year from now, we've seen what can happen in the market. It can just change so much.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just so much politically going on. There's all this other stuff going on.
Well, why not evaluate it? Why not, at the end of the day, you can still talk to a real estate agent. You can find out the value of your home or what they're comfortable with listing it at, where they're confident they will get it sold in a matter of time. So have that conversation with an agent and just get an idea of what that process is going to look like. And you may be surprised to see that you're pre-approved for a mortgage that you didn't realize that you could be. Maybe you could upgrade, or maybe you're looking to downsize, but have the conversation with your local expert. It's a great time to have that conversation. Obviously, what we're doing is we're just making predictions, but we could be completely wrong because no one knows except the people, that are out there selling or buying themselves. So it could the amount of buyers right now that are losing confidence in the ability to find a home in their price range because the amount of offers being given on one listing, they may decide they don't want to buy. And so for a few years, they may just feel completely just turned off by the idea of buying. Right. And here they are becoming habitual renters again. And then, you may have the people that don't want to sell because they don't know where they're going to go. And so there's that could cause there to be a plateau or, a downturn, but doesn't mean you shouldn't still have the conversation because we just talked to 2 agents yesterday that have been in real estate for a long time. And they sold a listing in 2 days. At the open house, met someone, a neighbor who came into the open house, which is great, right? This is why we invite neighbors. Nosy neighbors are the best. So those neighbors came in and said, hey, will you sell my house? So then they sold their house. I think it was in 2 days as well. And then they put marketing material out saying your neighbor's house sold in 2 days, right? Then someone calls on that flyer and asks them to list their house. 3 listings, I believe, in 1 week.
Nice.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. So that goes to the point, you said, certainly our prognostications could be inaccurate. In fact, I can almost guarantee they're inaccurate. It's hard to guess something exactly.
Sure.
But the other thing we need to remember too is the market's the market.
Yep.
It's always going to be the market. There is the top and there's the bottom.
Yep.
And if the market is up 11.8% since 2008, it is so unlikely that you're going to say 7 years from now the market is up 11.8%.
Right, absolutely.
It has to go down. It has to go like this. That's how just the cycle goes. It's just the way life is. So you need to realize that at some point we're at the top. So 7 years of growth, there's just most likely it goes somewhere.
Right.
And let's say that we're wrong, and that because of all the things going on in politics, the tax, all these things, it goes up even more. 3 years from now, we're like, wow, it's up another 10%. That only means the sharper dive.
Right.
And when that dive happens, most everyone's behind the curve.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just think about that sense that you wouldn't regret selling your house right now. You're going to get good dollar for it. If you want to sell your house, you will regret if prices plummet. I mean, like I said, we're seeing that there's $1.5 million houses that really most likely are going to sell for $900,000. They just haven't accepted it yet. That's a big hit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they were bought for 1.3 10 years ago, 1.4 10 years ago, and they're taking a huge hit.
Lord knows what they still owe, right? So,
so you know, there's again, who knows? But
right.
It isn't that difficult to figure out that it's like we talk about make more money than you spend, you have a business. Burn more calories than you eat, you have fitness, right? You have a good shape. Right. So it's like all this stuff. So right now we see that there's too much money being asked for houses that people want to pay. So there's something's got to go.
Right.
You know, either the house price has to come down or people all of a sudden have to be willing to spend more money.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to hear what everybody that's watching, what their experience right now in their market. Because I know that we have viewers from all over the U.S. and I believe a few in another countries. So
my cousin in the Philippines watches, so that always makes me happy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't even know how you buy a house in the Philippines, or what it costs, but
not sure.
We need to go there.
Yeah, we do. I would love that. Yeah, but I'd love feedback from you all about what you're experiencing, what your forecasts are. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And to hear what people think is happening to the market. Predictions are helpful, and for people that have been in real estate for a long time, you guys can potentially see those indicators that maybe we're not seeing ourselves. So we'd love that.
Love talking about it. All right, on to our focus subject, second segment. How to appear as a pro when you're brand new. I think you've probably seen by now that Cristen and I have a passion of business, but we also have a passion of helping people getting into business. We have taken jumps in our lives to do crazy things. Cristen went from a teacher to sales, direct sales. I went from the military to a software developer to an entrepreneur. Like we both of us are willing to just do some crazy stuff. And one of the things that holds people back is this fear that you're a rookie, and how do you get past being a rookie? And so we want to talk about what we can do, or what you can do we'll just take it as an agent. You want to start your career as a real estate agent. How can you come off like you're a veteran when you're brand spanking new? Okay, so we have 5 things for you. The last 2, so Cristen had the first, well, we talked it through, but the first 3, Cristen was right away. She said, these are the things. The last 2 were things that I added in. And so it's what you do, and also mindset. So let's go with number 1. If you want to look like a seasoned professional, but you're brand new, what's first thing?
So not in any particular order.
Not
one of the suggestions, prompt. So this is derived from the material that you're sending, being intentional about that, to the follow-up with your open house, to anything that you do, any sort of activity, be prompt in that. And then also in your meetings, when you say you're going to call someone back, be prompt. A lot of people get a little too lax with real estate, because with some buyers or sellers, they may say, be there at 5, and well, I've got to know them. I can be there at like 5:10, no big deal. But that certainly does add up, and it is not as impressive as the person that's showing up at 4:55 and then waiting till 5 o'clock to knock on that door. So I think being prompt is huge, because it's a sign of respect, and it's a sign of preparation that you didn't need that extra 5 or 10 minutes because you were fully prepared to be there on time.
We have, we're taking Bold, which is a class by Keller Williams, created by Diana Kokoska. The stat is that she went on 162 listing appointments. She closed 160 of them. She always, 162 times, knocked on the door at the exact minute. So if she said, I'll be there at 5, she knocked on the door when the clock struck 5. I sometimes fear that people think, and we see this all the time in business, we've been around all sorts of business folk. And men can be notorious for this. That all of a sudden when they think they're made, remember we talked about this in Bold too, there's this phase you go through, all of a sudden your ego gets all big, like, oh, I made it, when you're not even close. And you're like, oh, I can show up whenever. And so when you turn into that, when you get this mentality of like, oh, I can show up whenever, that is not professional.
No.
That is arrogant. And so if you are around, if you're brand new to the industry and you see someone out there who's selling a bunch of homes and they do whatever they want, don't copy them.
No, don't.
Because when the market squeezes, they get squeezed. Be prompt. The best agents we know, the ones we respect the most, they are sharp and prompt. They boom.
Yep.
They show up on time.
One other piece of that too is you have to think about the person that's buying or selling. So let's put in the example a single mom, right? And she had her mom or a babysitter come just that she had time to sit down with you to go through the home and talk about selling it. Okay, so let's give that example. When you get there, if you're 10 minutes late, she's most likely not going to rip you a new one. But in her head, she's thinking, seriously, like I had to arrange a babysitter, and my mom had to be here, and I had to get the kids ready and get out of the house, and I only have an hour. So most likely then your time's press. So you're putting more pressure on yourself, and you're showing blatant disrespect to that individual. Now, obviously, there are times we will be late, and these things happen. But in a scenario where you make it your norm and you're choosing to not be prompt out of ego or out of just lack of preparation, it's not a good thing. So being prompt is huge.
Yeah, you hit it perfect. So next one.
The next one, prepared. So if you're going to be prompt, you better be prepared, right? So this is preparing for everything from making your calls. Like if you're going to make 50 calls tomorrow, then you better make sure you know who you're going to call. You have those numbers lined up. You have your dialer set up. You have your notepad ready. Also with having an open house, do you have the marketing material? Do you have the surveys that you're going to collect to make sure that you have data to give to the listing? Because you need that to prove that you did work. Do you have your listing presentation buttoned up? So it's a matter of being completely prepared at all times, even so much so that when someone comes up to the grocery store and says, oh, you're in real estate, how's the market? That you know what your response is. That it's not just, oh, all's good, or, oh, I'm a real estate agent and I can tell you more about the market if we meet. Like you need to know what you're going to say at all times and be completely prepared because you're a professional. And being prepared shows that you are knowledgeable and that you are confident. So I think preparation is key.
Yeah, so to give a more of a visual to this too, because I don't know that there's something more important than this. If I am giving a listing presentation to Cristen, and we'll just jump into role play real quick, and I go, "Oh, hey, Cristen," and I'm fumbling through papers. Do you have a pen? That is not prepared. It just no one's ever going to say, "Wow, you should." I thought you'd be more prepared. They or rarely, but they're going to think. Even if they don't consciously think it, it looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
If you pull out a folder, this is your first ever listing presentation. You probably don't have it perfect, right? But you open up this folder, all the papers are crisp because what is it? I forget the coach's name. Charlie Manuel said, "Hustle takes no talent." Right? Like hustle doesn't take talent. So to me, a sharp folder takes no talent. You just put the things in the folder. It just takes work, right? Yep. And you open this up, and your pen's in there, your cards, everything's perfect. Well, now all you have to do is talk, but they're still like, look sharp, right? If I'm messy, who cares how slick I am? I'm still messy. So it's just prepared. You're going to look like a pro.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah, that was a great visualization. And just the way I see it is, let's say we have an agent that comes in and they've got impressive stats. They've been doing it for 10 years and they're, the number one in Philadelphia, whatever it may be. But when they come to the presentation, they don't bring a folder. They bring a few papers. They go over with them what the marketing process is going to look like to help them sell their home in 10 days or less. And they're just talking it through, but they're 10 minutes late. They're a little disheveled, right? Because, well, they get listings easily, so they don't really need to be buttoned up. So that person, okay, and all they have to prove their efficacy is the fact that they have numbers. But aside from that, they are a mess to this person. Then you have an agent that comes in and they don't have numbers. They have no experience, but they are polished, they are on time, and they have that folder together, and they have their pen. Then I pretty much can guarantee that if they stumble at one point and that seller asks them a question and they go, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to get back to you because I know who to go to get those answers. Yep. They will be much more impressed with that than the person that's like, oh, I know that answer. Yep. But then they don't treat that person like they're special. Yep. People want to feel special. They want to feel like they've never seen a home like mine. Yep. They've never worked with a seller or a buyer like me because I'm buying a home that's special to me. That's just my home. This is a big deal, right? Or I'm selling my home and you have no idea what the memories are like in this home. This is so hard for me. So you have to create that experience and by showing up on time, being prompt and prepared. It's respecting all of those facets of that.
And so the next one you have is polished.
Yep, polished. So it goes along with being prepared. It's just having those like final touches on everything to be polished. It actually has to do a lot with how you dress yourself. So by no means do you need to have a suit or be, wearing, certain brands or anything like that. But just showing that you respect this person enough for their time that you took time to get ready yourself.
Intentional.
You're being intentional.
Right. It's
yeah,
if you show up in an Armani suit that's wrinkled, it is less impressive than showing up in in jeans and a khaki shirt that are pressed. Because the first things, because it's just things that don't line up. Why is your suit wrinkled? Wrinkled?
Yeah.
Why is are we doing the tongue twisters?
Yeah, right.
Why is your suit wrinkled?
Yeah.
Right. And that's, again, they're not going to say anything to you. Why is your tie tied wrong? Why? Right. Just whatever you do it intentional and be sharp.
Because let's look at it this way. If you go in and talk to someone and you are polished, then what does that say? I mean, let's be honest. You judge a book by the cover. When you see someone walk through your door, you immediately, all you have to judge them on is what you see, right? They haven't talked yet. They haven't proved anything to you about their intelligence. You just immediately view that person as literally what you see, okay? Which I'm not saying that that's a good thing or that's a perfect representation of that individual. But what I am saying is that if you come in and you're in jeans and a Keller Williams t-shirt and you're in tennis shoes because you just got done walking new construction grounds, but your hair's done and you're put together, and at least you're not dirty or whatever and not wrinkly, but you walk in, you're showing them, if you're taking care of yourself, you're showing them, I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to take care of your house. All the communications I have around your home are going to be just as polished as I am. But if you come in disheveled, then most likely your marketing, your open house, your means of communication, your follow-up are also going to be disheveled.
It's a great point. It's a great point. And again, if you heard polish and you think, oh, Cristen is telling me to wear expensive clothes.
No. I shop at Ross, people. I told you this a few weeks ago.
It ain't about wearing expensive clothes.
It's not.
It's about wearing what you have intentionally.
And being confident with yourself. Listen, there's plenty of times where I've had a meeting and I'm not feeling, the outfit I picked out, I'm not feeling confident in. It's restrictive. I'm just not comfortable. Whatever, but own it. That's what you chose. That's where you're there. Be prompt with it and just own it. And that is going to help that polished look come through as if you're confident in who you are and what you're doing. That's huge to being a new agent.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are yours? You got a couple more.
So what I want to add on to those first three are perfect. Follow them. Just do them.
Yeah.
In fact, really all you need to do is those three to look like a pro. My last two are, one is mindset and one is just, you'll see. And you're going to say, like, if I say it to somebody, you're like, okay, sure. Like, how do I do this? But you need to be relaxed. And so let me define relaxed. Relaxed means that no matter how bad you need the money, because real estate could be good money. I'm walking into Kristen's house. It's worth $400,000. When she sells the house, I get 3% of the sale price, and I get a check for $12,000.
And you're already thinking about that.
$12,000. Yeah. $12,000 after taxes and stuff. That pays for my mortgage for 3 months. It pays you start spending the money. So what does that do? Makes you completely non-relaxed. Hopefully you can hear our kitty meowing. It makes us completely non-relaxed because we're worried. We're worried, what if we don't close the deal? So relaxed also means you need to be completely selfless. You need to go in there and say, how do I serve you? If you were a doctor, I bring up the doctor thing all the time. If you were a doctor, if it was your first time being a doctor, you would still want to serve your client best. When they walked in and said, my leg hurts, you wouldn't be like, you would be nervous, but to treat them because you cared about them, you would be calm and cool. You would be practiced. You would know what you're doing enough that you could give them confidence that you're going to take care of them. It's the same thing. So you need to relax. You need to bring it down. Things like when someone says, well, have you ever seen this type of air conditioning unit before? The professional, the person who's been doing it for 10 years, who's never seen that unit before, goes, no, I've never seen that before. The brand new person goes, well, maybe, I could go look at, they freak out. They stop being relaxed. Just relax. Just answer what you know. And then this goes into my second one, which is be connected.
Yeah.
You can start your career and go and connect with people who are professionals. Real estate career, you can go connect with plumbers, electricians, fellow agents, so that when people ask you questions, you can say, I know someone I can call for that. Yeah. I don't know the answer.
Definitely need to get those lists together.
Yeah.
Those preferred partners, vendors. Yeah.
But I know somebody I can call for that.
Yeah.
That takes a week of time to gather a huge list of people that you can call and reference. And so then you are then connected. You're not alone. You're connected. Someone says, I'm worried about this chimney. I know a chimney guy. I'll bring him in here. I don't know anything about chimneys. My job is to sell your home. But I know someone who can take care of the chimney. That's different than the agent who goes, well, I've been doing this for 15 years. Let me look at the chimney.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, it's not necessarily wrong. They may have been doing it 15 years. But,
sure.
If I was doing it 15 years, I would say, I've been doing this 15 years. Here's what I found out. I don't know as much as a chimney guy knows. I'll take a look at it and just tell you my initial thoughts, but you need to call this person. We'll get him in here. That sounds like, see the difference? Yeah. That's like, oh, he's connected. He does have some knowledge, but he's not, he does his job good. He doesn't do everybody else's job good. And so be connected is a very simple thing. Be relaxed. It's hard to do, but that's, if you want to feel like a pro, if you want to look like a pro, just be relaxed. Answer what you know. There's a really funny thing in sales training that talks about how when you're a dummy, you're a more effective salesperson. When you're a pro, you talk too much. But when you're a dummy, when you don't know much, you ask more questions. Sometimes being a dummy, sometimes being brand new is an advantage. Absolutely. People say like, what would you do with these hardwood floors to make this sell? And you think, I don't know. So you turn and go, well, what would you do? And then they talk for 15 minutes about what they would do, and they're happy. Yeah. Because they really just want to talk about what they want to do about the hardwood floors. The professional says, well, here's all the things I've seen, right? So just relax, ask your questions. What you don't know, be connected about.
I love that. And I also just wanted to add that the challenge with being the person that has the answer to all the questions, you become the primary contact for all the questions, right? So in the case of the chimney, like, hey, can you look at this? I feel like chimney is going to be an issue when I'm trying to sell my house. I've had issues with it. We haven't been able to use the fireplace for years. And I had a guy come and he said there's structural issues. So, but could you get up there? Could you look at it? So if it's an agent who's done this before and you're like, yeah, I'll look at it. I'll check it out for you. Okay. Anything that happens with that chimney moving forward in the sale of that listing, all on you. Yep. They're going to call you. But if you say, I have a guy, like you suggested, I'd love to share his contact information with you. I'll make an introduction. Does that sound like a good plan? That way we're working with the chimney specialist. Yeah, great. Then their questions regarding the chimney goes to the chimney specialist, not to you, the real estate agent. Love it. So if you are going to be a brand new agent and you're going to be prompt, prepared, polished, relaxed, and connected, you do not have time to be a chimney specialist, a floor specialist, a staging specialist. You don't need to be using your time in those areas because they are not dollar productive. You need to be intentional about who you're leveraging, and the connection piece is huge. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. Yeah,
it's a lot of years doing stuff and realizing if I would have just done this to start, I would have been so much better.
And leveraging is tough because you want to. It's your baby. This is the issue I've had in several years of sales. Is I had such a hard time giving up projects. Because I'm like, I can do them. They're mine. I'm going to keep them real close. But in time, I'm realizing I do not have the time to do everything myself. And people want to help. People want to be a part of the process. And you need to refer business out. I mean, help these other people out that specialize in that one area. Don't be the specialist for everything.
Totally agree.
It's great.
So if you're having challenges as a new business owner, pass them on to us. We'll give you our thoughts on what you can do to be better prepared to start a business. But we love that stuff. Happy to help. Yeah. Okay. All right. On to our love segment. I feel like I think I sound cool when I say that, but when I just said it, I didn't feel that cool. So maybe I'm realizing I'm not that cool. Whatever.
You're cool.
Les, thank you.
Ooh, you like that.
Last week we did 3 virtues we love to see in a woman. So this week we are doing 3 virtues we love to see in a man. Okay. Again, we're going to put we have opinions. We're not saying men are better than women.
Nope.
Even though Cristen constantly says that. And it's like, all right, let's just let off it already. But we're just saying this is right. This is our opinions about what we think are good to see.
Yeah.
We are a bit more traditional in sense too. Like we like some old-fashioned stuff.
Yes.
I'm
from Texas, so yeah.
My grandmother was huge into chivalry. I remember walking down the streets of Philadelphia, 8th and Pine, I think is where she lived, if I remember correctly. And she would have me walk on the outside, to traffic on the sidewalk. And if there was a puddle on the ground, she would joke that I should put my cape over it or my coat over it. held the door. So I liked. So anyway, I'm just saying. I think both of us. You're from Dallas. We just like certain things. So just. I don't know.
We talked about last. Well, I like that you're saying that. We talked about this last week. I don't need you to do those things. I'm not so dependent on you that I can't walk in Philadelphia unless you are blocking me from the street. Mm-hmm. But I do love that you do that. I think it's a great thing, and it makes me feel more feminine, and I do love it. So it's fun, but it's to each their own. But
I have a huge problem with wimpiness in men.
Yes, I know.
So if I had to do my top 3 virtues I don't like, I can't stand wimpiness. I can't stand.
You don't like wimpiness, period, though, man or woman.
That's true. I don't like it at all. But in men, it is extra.
It's just the Marine in you.
And well, it's also my grandmother. It's like when I watch a young couple, and the guy opens the door and walks through. I don't know. It just hurts me because it's not. Again, it's no symbol of anything except chivalry. I just think chivalry is awesome and should go nowhere. But anyway.
And it takes minimal effort too.
It takes really minimal effort.
Yeah,
it does. It always feels good.
It does.
And on the other side too, there's women who are like, who'll say, you don't need to hold the door for me. It's like, ooh, of course you don't need to hold the door for me. This never had a thing to do with need. Chivalry was never, let me say this clear, chivalry was never about need. It was about respect. Well, but here's something I have, right? We're going a little off, but I'm fine with it.
That's all right.
In society today, we get very critical of things, men versus women in their roles and all that stuff. And I think we forget that there are tons of great men and tons of great women. We don't have to worry about all this stuff about, the way things were back when. Well, those were back when. But still back when men were doing all the work and women were staying home. Men were creating ships and all this stuff. When the men created ships, they made a policy that if it sinks, women and children first. So there were lots of good men out there helping and protecting the people they cared about. It wasn't like everything was about oppression and all those things.
Right.
There's a lot of good men. And so just remember that. Like, we don't have to look back on things all the time and beat it up. There's men wanted to help their woman. They wanted to take care of them. I'll tell you, most men I speak to, they want to take care of their family. And so there's nothing wrong with that.
And it doesn't mean that he's saying that she's not capable of taking care of the family.
Of course she is.
Or that she shouldn't be out there working. She should just do this as a homemaker.
Never.
That's not it. Now, with some people, yes, not everybody's great. Not all men or women are good with the way they treat people. That's a character issue. We're not going over those today. There's not enough time. But the intention of chivalry is a beautiful thing. And if it's done in a way that the intention is respect and not being owed anything, and not needing someone to be dependent on them, it's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So I know I got passionate about it, and I love that
you're passionate
your view about it. But it's
one of the things that are a virtue I love to see in a man.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hear. Let's hear 3. Oh, passion.
Being passionate is one of the things. I think it's incredible. In this day and age, so many people have keyboard confidence, so they'll talk about their passions and their opinions virtually, but then you sit down and have a conversation with them, and they fold, or they speak about things that they have no knowledge of. And so I love that you're so passionate about things that matter to you. I think that's fantastic because it also exudes confidence, which is another virtue that I love to see in a man is confidence, passion, and then motivation. Motivation's big because there is something about an individual that wakes up and is motivated about the day, whatever it may be, whether it be with work or it be with the impact they're going to have on the world or the way they're going to be with their family or just getting things done around the house. There's something about being motivated that is huge, and it has to be intrinsic, right? Because otherwise that's a level of dependence that's not a great thing or a healthy thing. So those 3 would be the virtues that I love to see in a man, and you're all 3 of them.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
so I love your confidence.
I appreciate it.
It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It's just confidence in that you're motivated. You're constantly motivated to be a better version of yourself, for your family, for me, for whoever it may be. But more importantly, it's that intrinsic driven motivation. I don't have to say to you, you need to go do this, Jeff. Like, come on, like get up. You need to go do this with your day. Sometimes we have to do that for each other to go to the gym. But day-to-day life, you are so motivated and so passionate about what you believe in, your opinions, what you care about, and it's incredible to see that.
I appreciate that. I mean, confidence is a many-layered thing, and when you peel back enough layers in somebody, you always start to hit the things that you're not confident about. So, as we've been together, she's dug down deep enough to see things in me where I'm not confident about. But overall, my outer layers, I'm who I am, and I'm confident. I remember when we first met, one of the things, I mean, I could still picture you smiling at me, but one of the first things you said when we were sitting at Marathon Grill, you said, you looked back and said, you were just so straightforward.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is who I am. This is who I am. If you don't like who I am, that's okay.
Yeah, he laid it all out, and there was complete honesty, which, you know, should really be in there. But there was just such complete vulnerability and honesty in a way that vulnerable yet confident, right? Confident in who he is and able to be vulnerable about the truth of everything, right? And I think that's just an incredible thing, because so many times we make ourselves out to be something different than what we are when we first start dating. And then all of a sudden that person starts to learn who you are, like whether it's you get in an accident and they see you have a really bad attitude and you a lot of self-loathing and you just can't get over these little life humps or big life humps. And that could be a problem. And so when you just show them up front, when you're like, this is everything going on in my life, this is everything that's happened, you still want to go have dinner. It's a very refreshing thing to see someone that's so confident in their life and where it is, and so vulnerable to be able to share those things. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things I love about you. You've only gotten better as I've gotten to know you. Sure, we've dug down. We've had moments where we've talked and we've gotten in debates, arguments, those things. That's a relationship. That's a relationship. You get into those things. We peeled back the layer on some things. That's a relationship. But never did I peel back the layer on anything in Cristen and be like, oh, that's how she really is. Right. Just lay it out. Just be confident. It's great. We have this for both men and women, but I know there is something about a guy who walks in with confidence that is attractive. You're like, man, that guy has something. There's something about a guy who walks in the cockiness where you're like, oh, it's all BS.
Awful.
Hard to tell the difference sometimes. People are good, but confidence, true confidence, awesome thing. Okay, so here, let me give you my thing since we are running on the time. I'm going to do these a little bit differently because I've told you these before, but this is my advice for men, because they're not necessarily virtues. They're just, I think the way you should view things when you're dealing with your woman or a woman. I have three things. Your woman should feel comfortable around you. She should feel safe around you. And she should feel wanted. I think if you can, let me take out the word. If you pull off those three things, you are awesome. You will not pull off those three things all the time. But if you are, the majority of the time, the woman you're with says, you know what? Whenever I'm with him, I feel safe. Not just safe from danger, but safe from embarrassment, right? Because we've been on dates where you're out a date and with somebody and they do something, you're like, oh my God, like, let me out, right? Yeah. Like, how does this person think that acting this way in public is okay? Or, you know, the person who snaps their fingers at the waiter, the person who calls people names, the person who gets drunk and falls over. You don't feel safe with it. Like, I don't feel safe near or the person who drives crazy. Like, so.
Or even being able to share things without being judged.
Right, yeah.
Like, right. So I want to tell you about this, like, financially I'm having a hard time, so I've had to pick up another job. And if they're like, oh, wow, like, you don't have your stuff together, I don't feel safe.
Oh, yeah.
Ever having a conversation with that person.
Right. And then there's, so comfortable is similar, but comfortable is that next level. Once you feel safe, because you can feel safe. You can be at your home with all the doors locked and be safe, but on a couch that's really lumpy and not be comfortable. So it's the same thing. Like, you can feel safe next. Okay, so I feel safe. I'm not in any danger here. But you know what? I don't feel comfortable around them. The way they ask questions or they're not giving me the attention. Just doesn't. I'm not feeling comfortable. So if you can make the one you're with feel safe and then also feel comfortable, like, wow, I feel like it's just easy to be here with you because you're attentive, you are caring, you are thoughtful, like all those things. You're on the road to the right thing. And then last thing, wanted. Doesn't necessarily just mean sexual either. I'm not saying you have to look at a woman like, I want you. I mean, that'd be pretty cheesy. But wanted just means like, I am so into you that it is obvious from my words, my actions, my body language that I'm really attracted to you. You know, and I mean, life is easy for me. I'm extremely attracted to Cristen, but she also pretty much can't walk through a day without knowing in some form, verbally, body language, anything, that that's true. I mean, am I wrong?
No, that's completely accurate. It's, you know, I've talked to some people in relationships that they start to wonder if that person cares about them or wants them, right? Wants to be with them, wants to see them, wants to be around them, right? Because they didn't text all day or they didn't call them, or when they left, parted ways in the morning, there was no, I'll see you later, or, anything like that. Now, they go throughout the day not knowing if they're wanted, right? And so the great thing about you is that you're constantly reminding me throughout the day that I'm wanted. And I know that I am. But at the same time, I love that there's those reminders that I don't ever have a moment in the day where I think, I wonder if he wants to be with me or if he wants to be around me or anything like that, because you're constantly reiterating how much you miss me, how much you want to be around me, making me feel wanted. And so it's an amazing feeling. And it's important. It's huge. I mean, I can think of 20 women right now that I've talked to in the last few months who did not feel wanted. And it was derived from, he hasn't texted or he hasn't called, or, maybe he's just busy or he's on a work trip or whatever it is. If he had just said, now maybe he doesn't want her, but if he does, if he had just said, hey, thinking about you, or last night was great, looking forward to, getting together again, or whatever it may be, that person feels wanted. And then they have that connection with that man.
Yeah. I mean, if you care about a person, but you're playing it cool, it's just, to me, it's all wrong. Again, non-chivalrous. Wanting somebody, doing those things, these aren't things you do to get something back. You're going to get a lot in return. I will promise this. When you are with a woman and she feels comfortable, safe, and wanted, she's going to do everything you've ever wanted in terms of fulfilling you. Like, you're going to feel great because she feels completely unencumbered. Like, she's like, I can do whatever I want. Like, I can do anything and I'll feel good with this man. And so, and there's just so many things that go with that. And I pride myself in, again, this is service. I feel like this is how a man should think. My top 3 virtues are things I can do for the woman I'm with. And, there's like little moments. I'll give away one little moment. Again, this isn't purposeful. It's just, I get something hits me and I want to do something. And, for instance, I'll be standing with Cristen. We'll be out taking a walk and I realize I want to kiss her. So I stop and I kiss her. And she'll say something like, we're in public. And I'll say something like, I don't care. Now,
because being from Dallas, I get a little uncomfortable and nervous about PDA. So it's fun that he's like, well, I really don't care because I want to kiss you right now. And I love it.
Right. So in that moment, I bet you if we peeled it back, she knows she's wanted because it was a moment where I said, I don't want, I want you and I want to show it to you right now. She feels safe because we've been together long enough. She knows nothing's ever going to happen with me there. And the funny part is she feels a little uncomfortable, but it's cool, right? It's cool because you're foregoing that comfort because you're being shown how much you're cared about. So it's fun to even play in that sense.
Absolutely.
But also, as time goes on, she becomes more and more comfortable. She knows I'm going to scoop her up sometimes. And like any good man or woman, she says afterwards, she goes, I would never want you to stop. Just because that was, again, this is almost the wrong type of word for comfort, but just because it was uncomfortable or a little bit, like, oh my God, we're in public, for something like a kiss, that's a good man, and I take credit for this from being taught by other good men and good women about how to, your father, who's class act,
he's awesome.
You just, I don't know. I just saying there's 3 good things. So you like those, right?
I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said them to me from the very beginning when we started dating. And we're constantly using comfortable, safe, and wanted as the foundation of every relationship, friendship, work. It's so important that you have those 3 things. Otherwise, you do not feel like you can be you, and you do not feel like you can perform at any capacity. Because if you don't feel safe, you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel wanted, it's not a good place to be. So thank you for being all of those things and making me feel comfortable, safe, and wanted every day. It's incredible.
Well, I appreciate it. You make it very easy. I got the world's easiest job. I am the world's luckiest man, in case you haven't figured that out. So thank you so much for watching our show, episode 9. We have 1 episode left until we hit 10, which 10 was our mark where we said we were going to do this.
So we're doing it? We're going to keep going?
Well, you've hinted to this or even directly said it, but we have not confirmed. In next episode, we have to confirm or disconfirm whether or not we're going to do it. Disconfirm it?
I don't know.
I made it. I'm going with it.
Hopefully people don't judge us.
I'm confident, I'm motivated, and I'm passionate.
Yes, you are, sweetheart. I love you for that.
Thank you. I love you. So next week is episode 10. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot to talk about next week. Episode 10's big for so many reasons. It's 10.
I know.
Double digits.
Wow.
That's French for double digits.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right.
We will see you next week.
Bye, guys.